Let's talk about Taurus and borderline personality disorder. Hey, hello, lovers and friends. My name is Mia Marie, and I like talking about things in astrology that everyone else seems to conveniently ignore. Or maybe y'all are just sleeping on the obvious. So let's get it, let's go. What's borderline personality disorder? I'm glad that you thought that. Borderline personality disorder is a disorder characterized by impulsivity and instability. Instability in your mood, your behavior, your relationships, your sense of self. It can feel like emotionally you're riding a roller coaster all day long. It's also living with chronic fear of abandonment, whether it's real or perceived. So, for example, your date shows up late. Someone with borderline personality disorder takes that as frank abandonment, and their response is so large and disproportional. They get incredibly angry. It's a lot for the person experiencing it, but it's also a lot for the person receiving quite a dramatic display of emotions that don't quite make sense. To clarify, we're talking about a personality disorder, which means exaggerated behavior, an extreme personality. So where someone who I love might walk out of my life, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to cry about it for a couple of days, but I'm not going to die. Someone with borderline personality disorder feels like their emotions are electrifying them. They just might die. That's how it sits in their skin. Another way is I don't know everything about myself, but I know enough to know who I am. People with BPD don't have that sense of self to refer back to. So oftentimes they want to change their name. They want to change their hair. Their identity is always in flux and flow. Let's hold that thought, put it to the side, and talk Taurus for a second. I mean, we've heard it. They're stubborn, resistant to change. They like their creature comforts. These are the observable behaviors. And at the same time, behaviors work to satisfy an often unspoken need. So if you're coming in from a self-development point or even a therapeutic perspective, you need to know what that need is, because that reconnects you with source and power. And it also gives you a real clear look at all of the plethora of possibilities on how to get that need met in a healthier, more productive way. Aries is the baby, then Taurus is the toddler. If Aries is about existence, being, then Taurus is about attaining permanence over that existence. It's hyper-focused on what's real, what's stable, what's reliable and predictable in a world that's ever changing, surrounded by people that it has no control over. In fact, psychologically speaking, this is the first time that we come into awareness of others, of separateness. This is the first pivot away from complete reliance on our family and our immediate environment. There is this angst that we feel, a real hardening, affirming of boundaries that happens physically. It's also a time where we discover the limitations of our body and also come to see ourselves and everything in the world around us as an object, which is why ownership is so important to a Taurus. Objects represent physical security at this stage in development. Next part is important, write it down. Taurus is here to learn self and object permanence, which in English means understanding on the deepest level that things still exist even if we can't see them. So a Taurus thinks, if I own all these objects, what I really own is physical security. If I own memories of people telling me that I'm good and I'm lovable, then I have psychological security. I can withstand moments of discomfort and not collapse because I have a sense of self, because I have me. Taurus, the toddler of the zodiac, does not have a healthy, safe, predictable, nurturing environment and caregiver, mom and dad, it will internalize the world is unsafe. And it will craft a personality profile or a self-image that is ultimately unstable. It's the roller coaster ride. I don't know who I am. I don't know how to self-soothe. I don't know how to regulate. I don't know who I am. This is an insecurity. It's an identity crisis, which is the foundation, the entry point of borderline personality disorder. So when intense insecurity meets chronic fear of abandonment, you get a borderline personality disorder that uses impulsivity to try and get its needs met through really destructive behavior. So like I said, gambling, shoplifting, spending money on things that you don't need or excessive amounts of money, drinking a lot, smoking all day, changing your look, latching onto people in a way that's really unhealthy and almost codependent. If you pay attention closely, you'll notice that one of the things that all Taurus people focus on is attachments. Because even though they want to be free of attachments, they are terrified of being unattached. And so, how this plays out in their relationships is there's intensity, there's possessiveness, there is jealousy, and those are all defense mechanisms to try and protect themselves from the perceived fear of abandonment. Brings me to an interesting takeaway about Taurus. It's not what we have that matters, it's why we have it. It's what it represents to us. A lot of people think that Taurus chooses things because it's expensive or because it reflects its morals and values. Cool, but no, that's off course. That's a little too pop, right? Taurus energy is simple. It's easy. In fact, it has no awareness of its morals and values yet. I'm talking from a child development standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, those two are kind of one and the same, and also from just embodying Taurus energy. You don't want something just because of what it represents to the world. You want something because it represents something to you. All those objects represent. Please take a guess in your mind and get it right. Please, please, please. Security, comfort, being lovable, being worthy of respect, and being important. That's all they want. Period, point blank. Think of a physical toddler. They don't care what diapers they're wearing, just that they have diapers. They don't care who manufacture their snacks, just that there are snacks in front of them in their lunch every day when they go to preschool. Get it together. It's very important to say that for this series, because it can be potentially controversial, I am simply correlating astrological signs with personality disorders because they line up perfectly with psychology and child development. I am in no way saying that just because you're a Taurus, you're going to have borderline personality disorder. I'm saying you might see some low-grade expressions of it, and noticing that, or maybe even being open to it, if that is something that you're working with and struggling through, is the key to your success and enlightenment and ultimately freedom. But come on now, just because you're a Taurus, no. Hopefully that all made sense to you. If it didn't, shoot me a message. I love you guys wholeheartedly. Good night.